Hello, this is Evan der Milner here from latinum.org.uk, or as I would say, latinum.org.uk. Anyway, I'm here in the wonderful Şenpazar River Valley in Turkey, as I'm continuing on my travels from Greece, towards Georgia, and whenever I have Wi-Fi reception, the last 2 nights I had no Wi-Fi. It took me 2 days to cross that because I'm relying on solar panels and a battery and my electric bike, so I had to wait for everything to charge to get up that steep climb, 900 meters, and ahead of me I have 1,000 meters, but it's very gradual. So we're going to have a look at some words, accent, accentuate, accentuation, and then accept, I think I'll go on as well and look at that. We are reading from Riddle and Arnold's copious and critical English to Latin dictionary, which is one of the better English to Latin dictionaries available. And the only downside for us as inhabitants of this time period is it was written during the end of the 1700s, published at the start of the 1800s. But most of the work was done in the end of the 1700s, and so the language in the English, is somewhat quaint sometimes and requires explanation. Often the Latin gives clarity to the English, funnily enough. You can hear the occasional car going past because I parked last night by the side of the road. So, accent, substantive, which means noun substantive, as opposed to noun adjective in the old way of describing things. Accent. In pronunciation, vocis sonus, vocis sonus. That's from Cicero. In the Old English pronunciation of Latin, Cicero, Cicero. Accentus, accentus, accentus. Tenor, tenor. An acute accent, sonus vocis acutus, sonus vocis acutus. An accent in writing is vocis nota, or apex, the mark of a long syllable, but different from the circumflex, apex. Accentuation, voculatio, voculatio. Accentuation, accentus, accentus. And that brings us to the end of the entries for that. So not a large word cloud in Latin for that concept. Accept, and all the related words related to accept. To receive something offered. Accippere, accippere. To receive money from anybody. Pecuniam ab aliquo, accippere. Pecuniam ab aliquo, accippere. But this also has the secondary meaning of to allow oneself to be bribed. Pecuniam ab aliquo accippere. Then to undertake, in other words, to accept to do something, to undertake, suscipere, suscipere. Recipere, recipere. The former, suscipere, especially of free will, the latter, recipere, on being asked. The English reciprocate. Both of accepting an office, an office in government and so on and so forth. Not to accept anything, for example, an office in government. De precari munus, de precari munus. And then we have the improper uses of the word, its secondary uses. To approve of, am satisfied with, Accepere, in the sense of accept it. Accepere, accepere. Probare, approve of it. Probare. Admittere, permit, approve. Admittere. Agnoscere, acknowledge. For example, exempli gratia, praise or honor. Agnoscere, to accept praise or honor. To accept an invitation. Promittere se venturum esse. So there's no exact Latin that we know of in the texts for this expression. And so we have this Neo-Latin expression written by the authors of the dictionary. Promittere se venturum esse. An invitation to dine with anybody. Promittere ad caenam. Promittere ad caenam. Or promittere ad aliquem, which is to invite myself to dine with anybody, not to accept an offered honor. Oblatum honorem respuere. Oblatum honorem respuere. An offer of battle. Pugnam detractare. Pugnam detractare. To accept anybody as bail. Aliquem vadem accepere. Aliquem vadem accepere. To accept a proposal or terms. Conditionem accepere. Conditionem accepere, or ad conditionem accedere, ad conditionem accedere, or after long consideration, ad conditionem descendere, which is the opposite of conditionem respuere, conditionem repudiare, or conditionem aspernari. Before I go on, just to remind you that you can support me at Patreon if you want to. That's Latinum at Patreon. And also, I am producing an enormous amount of free material for reading Latin, which is or Latinum Institute Substack.com. If you just type in Latinum Institute and Substack into your search engine, it will come up. And then you scroll down to the bottom of all the options that Substack gives you, trying to get money from you, and select the free option, and you get access to everything. There is a paid option, which will give you access to PDF compilations, but it's the same material. Let us continue on. To accept it very gladly. Conditionem cupidissime accipere. Conditionem cupidissime accipere. Without hesitation. Also Neo-Latin here, written by the author of the dictionary. Non dubito accipere quod defertur. Non dubito accipere quod defertur. Not to accept the proposals of peace. Pacis conditiones dimittere. Pacis conditiones dimittere. The conditions of peace are accepted. Pacis conditiones conveniunt. Pacis conditiones conveniunt. To accept an excuse. To accept an excuse. Excusationem accipere. Excusationem accipere. Or we could use two other ways of saying this. Causam accipere. Causam accipere. Or, in the sense of a justification being accepted, satisfactionem accipere. Satisfactionem accipere. I accept your explanation or excuse is put into a completely different way in Latin to the way we would express it in English. And you would say, valet apud me excusatio tua. Valet apud me excusatio tua. And I'll say it one more time because it really doesn't relate to the way we would say this in English at all. Valet apud me excusatio tua. To approve and follow, to accept advice. Consilium acipere. Consilium acipere. PDF, so I can read it to the next page. One moment. Right. To accept consolation, consolationem suscipere. Consolationem suscipere. To act toward a person with partial regard, alicuius rationem habere. Alicuius rationem habere. Not to accept the persons of men. Not to accept the persons of men. Now, quite frankly, I don't know what he means here in the English. I've got some idea, but let's see what he says in the Latin, and this will throw some light onto this 18th century English expression. Nullius rationem habere. Nullius rationem habere. Delectum omnem et discrimen omittere. Delectum omnem et discrimen omittere, or auctoritates omittere. Auctoritates omittere. And that is how we say not to accept the persons of men in Latin. Acceptable. Acceptus, in the sense of gladly received, welcome. Acceptus. Gratus, causing in us a feeling of obligation from its value to us. Gratus. But acceptus, gladly welcome, received, welcome. Acceptus. Jucundus, causing in us the feeling of delight. On the PDF. And you can see it there. Oh, it flew away. Okay, good. Jucundus, because it was sitting right where I wanted to read. Obviously, feeling a great deal of delight. Jucundus, causing in us the feeling of delight. Then we have suavis, sweet. Dulcis, sweet. Mollis, also in the sense of sweet, soft. Suavis, dulcis, sweet. Mollis, soft. But all having an agreeably affecting the mind. Agreeably affecting the mind, says Mr. Riddle. Or it could be Mr. Arnold, but the first part of the dictionary, I think, is Riddle's. I have to read the introduction again, but they did split the work between the two of them. And then they got together and discussed it over coffee. So, all these of persons and things. Carus means dear, in the sense of a term of endearment. Carus. Delectus, valued or beloved. Delectus. Gratiotus alicui, high in somebody's favor. Gratiotus alicui, or gratiotus apud aliquem. Gratiotus apud aliquem, high in that person's favor. That someone holds that person in high regard. An acceptable time. Commodum tempus. Commodum tempus. Opportunum tempus. Opportunum tempus, or idoneum tempus. Idoneum tempus. Very acceptable, per gratus, or per jucunda. Per jucunda, oh, sorry, per jucundus, per jucundus. Sometimes the typeface is not so good. To be acceptable, jucundum esse, or placere, both of persons and of things. Acceptableness, jucunditas, gratia, dulcedo, suavitas, acceptably, jucunde, suaviter, at the right time, opportune, or per opportune, acceptance, acceptio, comprobatio, and acceptance of bail or security, satisacceptio. And that brings me to the end of this reading. Once again, I'll put the little ebook reader not so little down, and I'll move the camera around so you can see where I am. So it is very, very pretty here. Let's see if we can do this without my head. And let's go back a bit and you can see the whole thing. Whoop-ah, sorry about that. I bumped into my bike. So there's the caravan, and this is the... oh, hello. This is the valley that I am cycling through on the way up, and that is the direction that I'll be heading off later on today. It's very pretty here. So that's it from me for now, and remember latinum.org.uk. You can have a look at that. And if you want to help me out, you can go to Latinum at Patreon, which also helps you out because you get access to all of my Latin audio resources and so on and so forth that are there, the Latin courses and everything in audio. That's at Latinum at Patreon. It's not just a subscription, it opens up my own little private Latin Spotify to you. And then for free, Latinum Institute at Substack. That's latinum.substack.com. And that's also got other languages. I advise you to look at